Hey guys, what's up? It's Heather with the Mosco, and today we're up in the front flower bed. This is kind of where it all started. I think our first gardening video was of me moving these roses up here, and so looking at it and thinking about that now and how far it's come, it's not perfect, it's not where I want it to be, but that's kind of exciting. But what we're gonna do today is, I don't know about y'all, but my garden is looking tired. I'm tired, the plants are tired, so things are looking bad that I'm not taking care of. But it just got to like the last week, it's 77 right now, and it's humid, but it's glorious out here. And so I thought I would walk you around, show you some things that are working for me and doing well, and some things that aren't working for me and not doing well, and some things that I've learned this year. And then we'll trim some of this stuff up. Let me take you off here, and I'll try not to be too awful shaky. So, my house is here. My beautiful log cabin that I love so much. I've got my garden cart up here to handle debris. But let's start at the other end here, shall we? And look back. Or let's go down here. So this is in general the flower bed we're talking about. It's the one right in front of my house. So the pots aren't doing as good as I would like. I stopped fertilizing them, and that's the problem. I also realized that I put continuous release in there and then I fertilize every week, and that's just not enough. And then once that continuous release runs out, there's just not enough. So we're gonna trim these back just to clean them up. In about a month, we're gonna be putting in fall plants anyhow, so I'm not as concerned. Up here, these double up pink begonias have really done a good job. I've been very impressed with them. As a general rule, like this baby pink color isn't my favorite in the garden. I like things that are super saturated. Because I like it to look a little bit more Americana, and everything's in the shade here, and I feel like super saturated flowers show up better. But this is what they had enough of that I could do with in the garden, so I like it. I noticed that the ground here stays wetter than the ground that's in the other bed that's tied on the same drip, so that's interesting. Behind that, we've got some kind of annual salvia. I've not been impressed with that. Part of the problem is the other problem, which is I have this beautiful Wicked Witch Coleus back here. And I love Coleus, and I will probably do Coleus back here again. Probably the chartreuse lime Coleus though, because I think it would show up against the house a lot better. But I'm also thinking about doing this bed in perennials next year. So that's another thing. But I never pruned this Coleus, and it got leggy, and then it started getting a lot of rain here, and they bent over, and so if you can tell, I've got them staked back up. But in the meantime, they totally crushed my salvia, and it was fighting for light. So the double up pinks were total win. They are probably getting too much water, but they are still doing it, still looking good. The salvia, while it's really pretty, like that's a really pretty bloom, especially against the Wicked Witch Coleus, which I love, it's just not, it's not doing it. It's trying to reach for light. This is definitely a part sun bed. It gets more sun the closer down this way you go. And so it kind of shows. And again, it is staying wet. It's wet all the time. There are some roses in here that are dying, and they just need to be removed. But we need to go back today and kind of, even though we're a little day late and a dollar short, I am gonna still trim back my Coleus a little bit. I'm going to trim back these containers so that they're up to the rim of the container, and give the plants an opportunity to not be so leggy. And I'm also gonna put a little bit more fertilizer in. Now let's go over to where the stairs come up right there and walk this way, because it's really impressive. So unfortunately the light is a little harsh right now, but when you walk up here and you have this meandering path, it's really great. These are Super Tunia Vista Jazzberry, and I love the way that they contrast the Rudbeckia. Our planter up here, another one that's looking super leggy, and I've trimmed it once, and I'm gonna trim it way back. And as soon as I can get my hands on some pansies, it's getting pulled out and pansied, and I don't think I'll ever do another sweet potato vine. But I'm loving the lamb's ear. It's soft, it's green, it's no maintenance, it's wonderful. And the way it looks with that Super Tunia Vista Jazzberry, totally in love. The Veronica that's next to it, this is the one, this is on the same drip as the other, but it is super dry. And these plants are showing that. but those are not. The other issue is there's vole holes in here. So it could be voles, it could be that they're too close to these other plants, and it could be a water issue. The Rudbeckia looks amazing, look at that. Love this plant. This is my preferred color in our yard, this bright yellow, because I think it looks so good, but it did flop. I did stake it up, it's still floppy. So next year in this winter, I'm gonna build like a cage support for it so that it won't flop. And it looks good with the fuchsia, but I think it looks better with the jazzberry. So these were the 2 pots that we planted up for our fertilizer experiment. They look amazing. They're loving their life. The Super Tunia Vista Jazzberry has been a total win for me this summer. I think that I'm actually going to next year do either jazzberry all the way down the line, or maybe just not Super Tunias at all. But this has been far away my favorite Super Tunia. It just is killing it. I have not trimmed it. It has not been fertilized in 2 weeks, but it looks amazing. Behind that, I've got dahlias planted, more for cutting. They have produced maybe a handful of flowers, but they do have lots of buds on them. Let me show you. So this one is kind of not as fresh a bud or bloom, but it looks good. That one has never, 2 years in a row, it's been struggling, but this one's about to bloom for us. This has got lots of buds on it, but look at my carding meal. This is the best it's done yet. It's finally not being eaten alive by bugs. It needs to be trimmed. It's definitely more leggy and not as full as I would like, but the flowers on it are gorgeous. And then across the walkway, these are doing, this lily does not match anything, but it does get every year. This is far and away my best dahlia. It makes these beautiful orange yellow blooms, and they're gonna be great for fall arranging, and I already have some in the house. So very much looking forward to more of that, and it looks like we're gonna get some more blooms soon. So that's a tour of this area, and I'm just gonna go through here and just speed it up and do some cleanup. I think I'm gonna trim back all the containers except those jazzberry. Those jazzberry containers are amazing, and I think I'm definitely gonna have a lot of jazzberry next year. I'm not sure exactly where I'm gonna have it, but I am loving it. I also kind of learned this year that I am not very good at the weekly fertilizer, and I should really be fertilizing like twice a week, to be honest with you, to get the bloom concentration that I want. I want that look where it's a carpet of blooms. It's more blooms, almost no foliage look. And to do that, I'm gonna have to start fertilizing twice a week. But I also only put my continuous release in when I planted it. And I think if I would have gone back and done a second application, which I'm gonna do right now, even though I'm only gonna keep these plants in here for like 4 more weeks, I'll probably keep the jazzberry till it dies because it looks phenomenal. Another thing that next year I may do is I may actually put perennials in here. We were thinking about doing something to the house, but I don't think we're gonna do that now. And I think a bank of like the smallest version of limelights in front, because again, the house is so dark. And so if you put that bright chartreusey color in front of it, I think it would be beautiful. And I'd also like to have a gardenia over there, but I'm very concerned about how wet it is over there. So I might have to manipulate the drip to make it so that I could put a gardenia there. I've also thought about this bed, and all of this is to the right of the stairs on my house. I've also thought about doing a bed to the left of the stairs and mirroring it. Over there we have grass, and grass everywhere here. I need to do something about it, and I'm just too lazy. I need to reseed it and all the things and fertilize it and not let my dog pee right on it, but it's all coming along. When we started this, there was little to no landscaping. There was no bed on the other side of the grass. There was nothing, and to see how far it's come has been really, really, really great. And to be able to have these videos to look back on and see has been really great. So let's set the camera, but I have thought about putting a bed on the other side, and what do y'all think of that? Because the grass doesn't grow well over there. It's pretty shady though, so I'm afraid if I put lime lights in, they don't get enough sun. That's what I'm afraid of, that they won't bloom. Even if they only bloomed sparsely, I think it would still be pretty. And I think there are probably other hydrangeas. I could put more blue hydrangeas in here, which would be really pretty, and they would contrast really well. The the orangish nature of my house. But we'll see. We'll see what I figure out this winter. But in any case, let me just set up the camera and then we'll get to trimming on some things so you can see it kind of get cleaned up. And hopefully that's an opportunity. I do these things not because I'm good at them, but to show you where I'm at. And I watch other videos and they're, you know, they say the same things. And I'm like, well, maybe I can just trim it up. And the other thing is, if you're afraid of trimming up your plants, they're just plants. 90% of the time they'll just grow back. And if they won't, that's okay too. It's an opportunity for another plant. So don't be afraid to just go at it and trim on your plants. But let's set up this camera and get trimming. Alrighty, so we've got all of that done, so let's take a look at it real quick. So there they are, looking a lot more trim, a lot more compact and tidy. And I did throw some continuous release in there. That one at some point did have aphids as well, this one in the middle, because there was a lot of, it doesn't have aphids now, but there was a lot of dead aphid activity. So something took care of it. It wasn't me, but it definitely got hit by aphids at some point. The one at the end there had some kind of plug from water because it dried out as well while we were on vacation. But they're looking okay, and hopefully they'll flush out some more blooms, and we'll put some water soluble on them as well. And they'll look okay till it's time for fall planting. So that is going to be it for me in this video. I'm going to continue to go around my garden and just tidy things up. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.